Today I am reading Habit 4 Thinking Win Win Principles of Interpersonal Leadership. We have committed the golden rule to memory. Let us now commit it to life. Edwin Markham. One time I was asked to work with a company whose president was very concerned about the lack of cooperation among his people. Our basic problem, Stephen, is that they are selfish. He said that they just won't cooperate. I know if they would cooperate, we could produce so much more. Can you help us develop a human relations program that will solve the problem? Is your problem the people or the paradigm? I asked. Look for yourself, he replied. So I did, and I found that there was a real selfishness, an unwillingness to cooperate, a resistance to authority, defensive communication. I could see that overdrawn emotional bank accounts had created a culture of low trust, but I pressed the question. Let's look at it deeper. I suggested, why don't you people cooperate? I suggested, why don't your people cooperate? What is the reward for not cooperating? There's no reward for not cooperating. He assured me the rewards are much greater if they do cooperate. Are they? I asked. Behind a curtain on one wall of this man's office was a chart. On the chart were a number of race horses all lined up on a track. Superimposed on the face of each horse was the face of one of his managers. At the end of the track was a beautiful travel poster of Bermuda, an ideally picture of blue skies and fleecy cloud and a romantic couple walking hand in hand down a white sandy beach. Once a week, this man would bring all his people into this office and talk cooperation. Let's work together. We will all make more money if we do. Then he would pull the curtain and show them the chart. Now, which of you is going to win the trip to Bermuda? It was like telling one flower to grow and watering another, like saying things will continue until moral improves. He wanted cooperation. He wanted his people to work together, to share ideas, to all benefit from the effort. But he was setting them up in competition with each other. One manager's success meant failure of the other managers. As with many problems between people in business, family, and other relationships, the problem in this company was the result of a fluid paradigm. The president was trying to get the fruits of cooperation from a paradigm of competition, and when it didn't work, he wanted a technique, a program, a quick fix, antidote to make his people cooperate. But you can't change the fruit without changing the root. Working on the attitudes and behaviors would have been hacking at the leaves. So we focused instead on producing personal and organizational excellence in an entirely different way by developing information and reward systems which reinforce the value of cooperation. Whether you are the president of a company or the janitor, the moment you step from independence into interdependence in any capacity, you step into a leadership role. You are in a position of influencing other people, and the habit of effective interpersonal leadership is think win win. Sixth paradigm of human interaction. Win win is not a technique, it's a total philosophy of human interaction. In fact, it is one of six paradigms of interaction. The alternative paradigms are win loss, loss or win, loss or loss, win and win win or no deal. Win win is a frame of mind and heart that constantly seeks mutual benefit in all human interactions. Win win means that arguments of or solutions are mutually beneficial, mutually satisfying. With a win win solution, all parties feel good about the decision and feel committed to the action plan. Win-win sees life as a cooperative, not a competitive arena. Most people tend to think in terms of dis- dichotomies, strong or weak, hard ball or soft ball, win or loss. But that kind of thinking is fundamentally flawed. It's based on power and position rather than on principle. Win win is based on the paradigm that there is plenty for everybody, that one person's success is not achieved at the expense or exclusion of the success of others. Win-win is a belief that in the third alternative. It's not your way or my way, it's a better way, a higher way. Win loss. One alternative to win-win is win-loss. The paradigm of the race to Bermuda, says, if I win, you lose. In leadership style, win-loss is the authoritarian approach. I get my way you don't get yours. When lost people are prone to use position, power, credentials, positions, or personality to get their way. Most people have been deeply scripted in the win-loss mentality since birth. First and most important of the powerful forces at work is the family. When one child is compared with another, when patience, understanding, or love is given or withdrawn on the basis of such comparisons, people are into win loss thinking. Whenever love is given on a conditional basis, when someone has to earn love, what's being communicated to them is that they are not interestingly valuable or lovable. Value does not lie inside them, it lies outside. It's in comparison with somebody else or against some exceptions or against some expectation. And what happens to a young mind and heart, highly vulnerable, highly dependent upon the support and emotional affirmation of the parents in the face of conditional love? The child is molded, shaped, and programmed in the win loss mentality. If I am better than my brother, my parents will love me more. My parents don't love me as much as they love my sister. I must not be as valuable. Another powerful scripting agency is the peer group. A child first wants acceptance from his parents and then from his peers, whether they be siblings or friends. And we all know how cruel peers sometimes can be. They often accept or reject totally on the basis of conformity to their exceptions and norms, providing additional scripting toward win loss. The academic world reinforced win loss scripting. The normal distribution curve basically says that you got an A because someone else got a C. It interrupts an individual's value by comparing him or her to everyone else. No recognition is given to intrinsic value. Everyone is extrinsically defined. Oh, how nice to see you here at our PTA meeting. You ought to be really proud of your daughter, Caroline. She's in the upper 10%. That makes me feel good. But your son Johnny is in trouble. He is in the lower quartile. Really? Oh, that's trouble. But what can we do about it? What this kind of comparative information doesn't tell you is that perhaps journey is going on all eight cylinders. Will Caroline is costing on four of her eight, but people are not graded against their potential or against the full use of their percent capacity. They are graded in relation to other people, and grades are carries of social value. They open doors of opportunity to or they close them. Competition or cooperation lies at the core of the educational process. Cooperation, in fact, is usually associated with cheating. Another powerful programming agent is athletics, particularly for young men in their high school or college years. Often they develop the basic paradigm that life is a big game, a zero sum game where some win and some lose. Winning is beating in the athletic arena. Another agent is law. We live in a litigious society. The first thing many people think about when they get into trouble is suing someone, taking them to court, winning at someone else's expense. But defensive minds are neither creative nor cooperative. Certainly, we need law, or else society will deteriorate. deteriorate. It provides survival, but it doesn't create synergy. At best, it results in compromise. Law is based on an adversarial concept. The recent trend of encouraging lawyers and law schools to focus on pitchable negotiation, the the techniques of win-win and the use of private courts may not provide the ultimate solution, but it does reflect a growing awareness of the problem. Certainly, there is a place or win loss thinking in truly competitive and low trust situations, but most of life is not a competition. We don't have to live each day competing with our spouse, our children, our co-workers, our neighbors, and our friends. Who's winning in your marriage is a ridiculous question. If both people aren't winning, both are losing. Most of life is an interdependent on an not an independent. Most of the life is an interdependent, not an independent reality. Most results you want depend on cooperation between you and others, and the win loss mentality is dysfunctional to that cooperation. Some people are programmed the other way, loss win. I lost, you win. Go ahead. Have your way with me. Step on me again. Everyone does. I'm a loser. I have always been a loser. I'm a pitch maker. I will do anything to keep peace. Loss or win is worse than win or loss because it has no standards, no demands, no accept, expectations, no vision. People who think loss or win are usually quick to please or appears. They seek strength from popularity or acceptance. They have little courage to express their own feelings and convictions and are easily intimidated by the ego strength of others. In negotiation, loss win is seen as capitulation, giving in or giving up. In leadership style, it's permissiveness or indulgence. Win loss loss win means being a nice guy, even if nice guys finish last. Win loss people love loss win people because they can feed on them. They love their weaknesses. They take advantage of them. Such weaknesses complement their strength. But the problem is that loss win people bury a lot of feelings, and unexpressed feelings never die. They are buried alive and come forth later in uglier ways. Psychomatic illness, particularly of respiratory, nervous, and circumlatory, circumlatory systems, often are the reincarnation of cumulative resentment, deep disappointment, and disillusionment expressed by the win loss win mentality. Disproportionate disproportionate range or anger overreaction to minor provocation and cynicism and other embodiments of suppressed emotion. People who are constantly repressing, not transcending feelings towards a higher meaning find that it affects the quality of their self esteem and eventually the quality of their relationships with others. Both win loss and loss win are weak positions based in personal insecurities. In the short run, win loss will produce more results because it draws on the often considerable strengths and talents of the people at the top. Loss win is weak and chaotic from the outset. Many executives, managers, and parents swing back and forth as if on a pendulum from win loss in consideration to loss win indulgence when they can't stand confusion and lack of structure, direction, exception, and discipline any longer. they swing back to win loss until guilt undermines their resolve and drives them back to loss win until anger and frustration drive them back to win loss again. Loss. When two win loss people get together, that is when two determined, stubborn, ego invested individuals interact. The result will be loss. Both will become vindictive and want to get back or even get even, blind to the fact that murder is suicide, that revenge is a two-edged sword. I know of a divorce in which the husband was directed by the judge to sell the asset and turn over half the proceeds to his ex-wife in compliance. He sold a car worth $10,000 for 50 $50 and gave $25 to the wife. When the wife protested, the court clerk checked on the situation and divorced that the husband was proceeding in the same manner systematically through all of the assets. Some people become so centered on an enemy, so totally obsessed with the behavior of another person that they became blind to everything, expect their desire of for that person to lose, even if it means losing themselves. Lose is the philosophy of adversarial conflict, the philosophy of war. Loss is also the philosophy of the highly dependent person without inner direction who is miserable and thinks everyone else should be too. If nobody ever wins, perhaps being a loser isn't so bad. Win. Another common alternative is simply to think win. People with the win mentality don't necessarily want someone else to lose. That's irrelevant. What matters is that they get what they want. When there is no sense of contest, of competition, win is probably the most common approach in every negotiation. A person with the win mentality thinks in terms of securing his own ends and leaving it in others to secure